everybody, how's it going today? Well, we just finished up a game of Sonic Forces for the PC, and I guess I should do a little review of it. So I've been a Sonic fan for a bit. So what was my take on Sonic Forces? Well, the things I liked about it, I really liked the custom character thing. I really do. I really hope they utilize that in the future as a mechanic. It made, getting S ranks cool because it's like you get more stuff and you get more stuff for your avatar and stuff like that. Unlocking, they made sure it was a constant, barrage of unlocks, new clothes and things you could try out on your avatar. And I really liked that. I really liked that idea as a concept. It really makes the game enjoyable to play. I do like that your character, has his own cutscenes and you can even play around with the character avatar and then go back to the theater on the main screen and watch different characters and monstrosity. Whether you make it as silly or as serious as you want, you can watch this cutscene with whatever custom avatar you decide to make. I think that's kind of cool. I really do like that concept, and whoever came up with the idea, big bonus to you this year. It is the reason that people would want to get Sonic Forces for sure. And if you was like, as soon as you I think to me when I'm reviewing this, it has to be in the idea that people who liked the concept of having your original character in the Sonic game, they've already bought the game at this point. Like as soon as they saw that mechanic and they went, ooh, they bought the game. Like that sold them on it. It was something I was curious to see as well, so it did sell me on a game. Especially since they released that avatar, the avatar that they used looked similar to my character with like the glasses and all that stuff. Like the glasses here. And it looks similar to me, only it was in a wolf kind of format. So it was kind of funny. And it was released on my birthday, which was even more hilarious. So obviously they had sold me on that. So I hope to see more of that. On that vein, there are three main characters in Sonic Forces that you play as. You play as Classic Sonic, Modern Sonic, and your avatar. And there are some missions where you and Sonic work together. That being said, because there are some episodes and things where you and Sonic work together as a team, and as well as your avatar, and as well as Sonic, Modern Sonic, Classic Sonic really, 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 really feels like a third wheel here. Like it literally feels like the thing was just attached and really felt like it had no purpose or meaning. I think a lot of people have made this critique. And it does. He feels very out of place in this game. Even though reality is being bent or whatever, like even the character couldn't take it seriously. Like when Tails saw Classic Sonic for the first time, he's like, because Infinite's messing with realities, then that means you got pulled into this whole thing because reality's all messed up. That makes sense, I think. Literally even the character's like, you're here, that makes sense, I think. I mean, I was even coming up with weird things about why Classic Sonic had showed up in the first place. I came up with, the concept in one of my videos there, and I'll put a link up there when I came up with that thought. That Tails was apparently going nuts because, Sonic had gone, the modern Sonic had been allegedly destroyed by Infinite. And so, he went, and Vector said, well, Tails has gone crazy and rogue, and he didn't really. But, I mean, it just sounded cool at the time, I suppose. Or Vector doesn't know when people are actually going crazy. I don't know. But anyways, there's this issue where, Tails is the only one interacting with Classic Sonic. So my thought was he's going nuts. So maybe Classic Sonic is just some sort of manifestation of Tails' imagination. and he's the only one that sees him, and he's using him as a replacement for Modern Sonic because, whatever. And that would have been a cool idea. I said, if they actually made that what it is, then I'm going to make this game of the year. Of course they didn't. Classic Sonic is really real. He's really here, and he's really part of the team of the Sonic Forces. literally Sonic Forces because it's made up of 2 Sonic characters, and your original character do not steal at this point. But as I said, the dynamic, looking back on it, and this is the most depressing part when I realized it, is that the reason that Tails hangs out with classic Sonic all the time is because your original character is literally taking his place in that relationship with modern Sonic, if you think about it really hard. Like, narratively, your character is now Sonic's partner, so Sonic's partner has to go hang out with this other Sonic, and hey, you go hang out and play with that Sonic. Me and the OC here, me and the rookie are gonna go out and save the world. And Tails is like, but Sonic, what about me? What about you, Tails? I'm your buddy? It's like, no, you let Infinite kick my butt, dude. I'm not gonna let you anywhere. The rookie knows what he's doing, at least. Oh, I'm so disappointed in myself. It's like, poor Tails. It's like, Tails' character in this story really got the hamhead. Like, it really was bad. Like, I literally think they could have replaced classic Sonic with Tails. And there's a reason why I think that, other than being a Tails fan. And that is because of the one thing I really, really didn't like. So let's get into the one thing I really didn't like about this game, from at least a philosophical standpoint, because it's pretty deep ingrained. It took me a while to like most of the critiques that I have for a game after I play it, it's like, oh, that was pretty fun and that was pretty cool. You know, after you go through it and you retrospectively go back and say, what was the biggest flaw of the game? I did that with Zootopia. It's like, what was the biggest flaw of the movie? And the freaking flaw I saw was pretty huge. And it was and it actually kind of predicted, in a sad way, the results of the 2017 election. And I'm like, why did I do that? So I have videos about that. So what was the big critique that I have for this game? The narrative and the mechanics are at odds. They are opposing forces in this game. Sonic Forces. The narrative and the mechanics are fighting each other. They're boxing each other like kangaroos, I guess. So why is that? Well, at the end of the game, and I guess it's sort of spoiler territory, I suppose, but you know, obviously Sonic is going to win. But Tails is like, we need to work together. Like, he's like, Tails is with the other guys in the main war room, as it were. War room. They use that word war a lot in this game, which is kind of weird too, but to make it serious. But we'll get back into that a little bit later. Tails, you know, says something along the lines of, we can't get the world back in order alone. No one can do this one thing alone. We need to all do our diligence in order to get things done. That was his final statement in the game. And everyone's listening to him and going, yeah, we all need to work together and do this thing. And my first reaction was, interestingly, my first initial reaction during the Let's Play was, where is Sonic during this? Why is Tails giving the speech? And, you know, we find out next scene that Sonic's standing out there sort of by himself and talking with the rookie about, hey, you're going to head off too and stuff like that. So that's where Sonic was. But the reason I had to ask that question was because Tails contributed nothing to anything during the game. He literally was deadweight. He literally was a damsel in distress. Like, I guess the male equivalent of a damsel in distress, whatever that is. So, yeah. I was a bit... and then I thought back really, really hard, and I'm like, so the moral of this story, the moral that they're trying to present to the player is we have to do what we can in the real world around it. And even they make a reference to that in a very clever way. I think it's sort of clever. It's like, we have to do well in the reality that we have and stuff like that. And I thought it was very clever because, you know, Infinite was like a person who was manipulating the virtual world into the reality. And so, like, the final statement from the protagonist was, you know, we need to do what we can for the reality that we're in. And so it's sort of like it's a good lesson, but The problem is the mechanics of the game do not mesh with the lesson. Everyone doing their part versus having relying on a superhero or a few people to save you, right? That's the juxtaposition. Like the idea that everyone has to do their best to make the world a better place versus relying on a few people to make the world a better place. This is where the narrative and the mechanics fight each other. Now, to be fair, that narrative of everyone should do their part in due diligence didn't really come up until the end of the game. But if that's the moral lesson that was going to be presented at the end of the game, the mechanics of the game should have reflected that a little bit better. Because literally, there are 3 heroes in this game. There's Classic Sonic, there's Sonic, and there's your OC Do Not Steal. Those are the 3 people pulling the weight of the entire Sonic forces. Everyone else is in the background. Chatter, 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 chatter. Well, I don't feel much confidence in this rookie, says Vector, as he sits on his laurels and does absolutely nothing. Tails has regressed as a character. Tails is particularly upsetting to a lot of Sonic fans because he's proven his weight in the Sonic Adventure 1, where he, had to stop Eggman from blowing up some sort of bomb. He had to, in number 2, Sonic gets launched into space by Eggman, and everyone believes that Sonic is dead. And Tails steps in and goes, "I'm gonna beat you, Eggman. I'm gonna do what it takes. I won't forgive you for what you did to my friend." And now we come to this game, and he's like, "I'm Googling it. I don't know what to do. I did it." It's like, I can't fly in and try and fly you out of there. It's like, Tails, a little help here. I'm looking it up, Sonic. I really am. I'm doing this as best as I can. Tails, come in here, fly my arse out. I'm getting my teeth stomped in. Could you stop for a second and just help me physically? Because, Tails is capable of handling himself in a situation. Obviously, it's not his first means of going. He's not like Sonic. He doesn't rush in and do all that. But he doesn't stand back while bad things are happening either. He's more like, I'll calculate it, but if push comes to shove, I will try to step in and help. Which is what he sounded like he was in the end. But during the game, he never provided evidence that he was that kind of person. He always was standing back. He always did nothing. And same with other characters in this story. You didn't feel like you were part of a force. You felt like you were the force. And so, and power fantasy gameplay is fine. And Sonic games are known for that sort of this hero sort of shtick, and it is a power fantasy. You're playing as Sonic the Hedgehog. That's fine. That's fine as a mechanic. It's fine to have power fantasy games. And same thing with this OC guy. It's like, oh, how did this OC get so good with a grappling hook all of a sudden and stuff like that? What is all this? Like, how did they get so good at being a grapple hook person? How did they get so good that they could literally do it in such a speed where they can literally help Sonic around corners? Which is, by the way, is a freaking cool mechanic. I wish I saw more of that, where because that felt more of a genuine partnership kind of a thing, where your character and Sonic are going around a corner and your character shoots out his grapple hook or hook shot or whatever, and he uses that as leverage in order to drag you around a sharp corner. Because Sonic, in this game particularly, is not very good around corners, so it felt sort of like a natural sort of partnership, more than the double boosts and triple double boost thing. The double boost thing was kind of it felt like a forced finishing move, which you didn't really have any control over how well it did. It just sort of happens. It's like, oh yeah, we finished him off with that. It's like, oh, this must be near the end of the level because here comes the double boost. It's what I'm saying is the gameplay mechanics are power fantasy. The gameplay narrative, the game's narrative at the end is we need to do our due diligence and work together. One thing does not mix well with the other. If you're going to make a game, what's message is that we all have our part, we all have our function. To do our part to do things better, you need to have the characters contribute their traits to the team. Like in the gameplay, you're gonna have you can even incorporate it into the level with your heroes. It's like your rookie could be going into this facility, and then Tails is like, "Hold on a second, wait in this room while I hack through this thing or something." And like while you're doing that, you fight or have to do like fight off all these dudes and wait for him to open that door or something like that. Like obviously don't make it like waste time too much, because obviously the game has to be quick and you want people to speed run the thing. But or having Knuckles come in and punch somebody, or just anybody just come in and contribute, like those soldiers that had like literally the problem is like this happens so often in this game where like it's like, well, we got to pull back and let the rookie do it, or we got to pull back, Sonic's on his own. We'd love to help, but that show from Netflix is on, and I want to go watch it right now. It just feels like the characters are just there to talk to you about what they think is going on and aren't really contributing anything to the mission at hand, and that's a problem. I mean, literally the last part, it's so ingrained where there's such a difference between the end of the story where they're trying to say we all have to work together, and the beginning, which is just power fantasy of like, oh, you're on your own, you're all on your own and you're gonna do it yourself. Is that the end scene where all these characters are rushing into Eggman's final lair just came out of freaking nowhere. It was like a completely different game. It was like, I kind of mocked it because it's like, what are we doing this whole Lord of the Rings final battle sequence here? Like thrown in all of a sudden. It's like, where did all these people come from? Where were you this whole time? I mean, sure, we had scenes there and there with them, but it never felt like they were part of it or that you were part of it. I mean, your original character was obviously part of it, but like I think it puts a poor expectations on real world. Like you're saying to kids, it's like you got to do your part. You got to be part of that small group and do what you can and do your diligence. But here's the fact and reality of the real world. And this is something that's important because you need to be teaching kids on how this stuff actually works, is that I've been in the company that I work at for about 10 years now. I have never been in the war room. I have never been in the CEO's office of the company I work at. Ever. And here we have this rookie walking into the main headquarters of the place and talking with all the head honchos here, like basically on day one. If this is a actual war and as you can see, there's a bunch of recruits and stuff like that. There's a bunch of people out there who are working with the Sonic Forces group. They're not all going to be going to the command room and talking to the freaking people in charge. They're not going to be like, it's not that the interaction's not going to be that personable because it can't be. Like the commander can't talk to every single rookie in the squad. It's just not practical. So typically you have, people who are less than that and interact with that. That's what reality looks like. That's the world that we live in right now. So when we're talking about the lesson of doing well in the world around us, you have to realize that the real world, you're not going to hang out with the big guys all the time. You're going to have to, interact with people on the ground, those around you, your peers, a little bit more. And if you do very well amongst your peers, then maybe those above you might take notice and go, "Hey, man, you seem cool." That's how social dynamic actually works. So it's sort of a weird tangent to get off on, but I think that's sort of what Sonic Forces fails to do. Sonic Forces as a power fantasy and gameplay mechanics, it's cool, but the lesson in the narrative that they tried to present at the end doesn't mesh well with the mechanics. So either, just let it all ham loose and just let it be a power fantasy, as it were, or if you just see it as sort of a cheesy game, you can get as a cheesy sort of fan fiction fare. You can do it. I think that the game is okay. I think that if it wasn't released on the same year as Sonic Mania, it'd be better received. But obviously, Sonic Mania was really, really good, a really, really passionate project, and had a little bit more to it for that classic fare than Sonic Forces did. If I were Sonic Forces, I would have gotten rid of Classic Sonic, because Classic Sonic's only going to remind you, I could be playing Sonic Mania right now. It was literally a third wheel in the whole entire game. And as I said, if you had replaced Classic Sonic with Tails levels, then the lesson at the end actually could have made sense, especially when it was coming from the mouth of Tails himself. He's saying, Tails is like, we got to do our due diligence. We got to step up to the plate when things go wrong. You could have had that third section of gameplay focusing around Tails kind of going out and trying to do his own thing, but then realizing he needs the help of others. Because you could have done that, man. Like, here, I just coming up with this right now, impromptu. Tails could have realized, Tails could have felt responsible for what happened to Sonic. Which, by the way, if you're going to do that, you should have shown Tails try to come in and rescue Sonic, and then Infinite just push him and brush him aside. You should have at least shown that part before the blackout. All right? Tails, feeling responsible for the fact that he couldn't help Sonic, goes off on his own because he doesn't want to risk anyone else. And so he goes off and he does the classic Sonic missions to oppose Eggman instead of classic Sonic. And over time, he realizes that he can't do it on his own because he gets himself into trouble. And then, like, modern Sonic comes in to save him or something. Or the original character comes in to save him. Or something like that. That would have been cool, because then Tails would have learned the lesson. It's like, well, you don't have to do it on your own. You can, and then that lesson would have been more genuine in the long run. And number two, it would have made more narrative sense. Number three, it would have been somewhat gimmicky kind of a thing. I think that would have been a better way to approach this game, is to have Tails sort of having his own side missions and something like that. I don't know how the end game would have worked, where you had the three people working together in the triple boost. But once again, I said it felt like a third wheel. So like the triple boost really was just cheesy at that moment. It's like, they're triple boosting. Oh, I kind of saw that coming. But anyways, I think I've rambled enough about Sonic Forces. That's a game. I like the concept. I like the direction of people. Oh, by the way, as a final note, thank you very much for introducing the word Fursanas to gaming journalists. I don't know why, but this game, more than any other, has had people using the word Fursana in a non-ironic sense in articles and videos. You think I'm joking. Like, Game Grumps, when talking about, like, when they're doing their Let's Play of Sonic Forces, literally call your character the Fursana, or like they're using the word Fursana in like the way to refer to the original character. And Jim Sterling, in his review of Sonic Forces, also talked about the OC being your Fursana and sticking your Fursana in Sonic Forces, which is it's weird to me to hear people say that word and not furry people say that word in such a way where it's like, not furries are saying the word Fursanas now in a non-jokey sense. Oh, good Lord, what have we done? But that obviously, I think the original character part is sort of the best part of the game. I'm impressed. I'm quite impressed that you guys took the time to make like animations and stuff like that for an avatar that has random parts and stuff like that, and making them all come together and stuff like that. And you even like put in some silly stuff in it too, like for people who are like, oh, we want people to really go crazy here, like, and you have like some of these weird things that are like weird beady eyes, and like I love it. It's great. That sort of eccentric, crazy sort of like, you can do whatever you want with it. Let them wear a kilt or whatever you want to do. Like, have at it. It's your character. You can make them as crazy as you want. Go nuts. And I do like that. And I think that was this game's strong suit for sure. And hopefully, like, you expand further upon that sort of engaging activity within your games that nod to the fans and your fans as much as the fans seem strange and crazy sometimes, that you allow them to be a little eccentric in your games and not take it so seriously. says the guy who just like talked about why the narrative structure doesn't work with the game mechanics for about 30 minutes. But come see, come saw, whatever works for your book. I think it did good. I literally liked it. I'm glad I played it, and I'm not going to refund it like some jerks out there did. I'm not. I paid for it, and I did enjoy it. I did have to refund the Bubsy. By the way, just so we're fair, Sonic Team, I did have to refund the Bubsy game. I tried to play the Bubsy game before I played your game. Actually, the week before I started playing your game on my Let's Play channel, I tried to play Bubsy, and it kept crashing on my machine. So guess what, Bubsy? I don't care what you think about Sonic. His games actually still function. Well, yours didn't. So, too bad, so sad. Even after they allegedly patched it, because I tried to get it to work after that. But, anyways, yeah, you could watch the Bubsy failure here. It's a 16-minute Let's Play of me trying to get a game to work, and it didn't. Sorry, Bubs. Anyways, I'm going to get the hop out of here. Thank you very much for watching this week. Kick that like, kick the subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section. What do you think of Sonic Forces? What was your favorite part? What was your disfavorite part? One of the other things I didn't like was I didn't even cover like half of some of the mechanics, but I think that I covered the things that I wanted to cover here. Maybe more of it will come out in the comment section as we talk about more of the mechanics and stuff like that. So I'm going to get the hop out of here. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one, guys.